The night I almost went over the railing, the ocean was calm. That's the part people always get wrong. They imagine chaos waves crashing, panic everywhere. But no. The sea was flat and dark, stretching forever, and the air smelled like salt and expensive cologne. I remember thinking very clearly, this is how people get hurt when no one thinks they matter. Her hand was pressed hard between my shoulder blades. "Let me help you overboard, Stowaway," she said, close enough that I could feel her breath on my neck. "Security won't even file a report when trash disappears." I gripped the cold metal rail, felt my weight shift forward, felt that old instinct rise, the one that knows exactly how to end a threat in under 2 seconds. But I didn't move. Not yet. Because this story didn't start on that deck. It started days earlier when I decided to disappear. I boarded the cruise under my own name, but without the things people usually associate with it. No entourage, no announcements, no uniform, no titles. Just me, a carry-on, and the kind of quiet that makes some people deeply uncomfortable. I wanted to see how people behaved when they thought no one important was watching. At check-in, the attendant looked at my reservation, then at me, then back at the screen. A pause, not long, but long enough. Her smile tightened. "Just confirming. Presidential suite on the Sapphire deck." "That's right," I said, easy neutral. A woman standing nearby, tall, perfectly styled, dripping confidence, laughed softly and leaned toward her husband. "They really let anyone on these ships now," she said, not quietly. I clocked it, didn't react. Years ago, I learned that not every comment deserves oxygen. But she watched me. I felt it. Some people don't just want space, they want hierarchy. The first bump came an hour later in a narrow corridor. She stepped sideways, hit my shoulder, then spun around like I'd attacked her. "Excuse you," she snapped. "I'm sorry," I said automatically. "Habit, discipline, the kind you don't shake." She scoffed and walked off, already telling her husband how rude I was. He didn't look up from his phone. That night at dinner, things escalated. I was escorted to a captain's table. Nothing dramatic, just a nod, a chair pulled out. I didn't miss her reaction across the room. Her smile froze, her eyes narrowed. Confusion, then irritation. In the restroom later, she stood next to me at the sink examining my wristband like it offended her personally. "There must be a mistake," she said. "Platinum access isn't easy to get." "No mistake," I replied, drying my hands. "Hope you're enjoying your evening." She wasn't. From then on, it became a pattern. Little things. Comments dressed up as concern. Questions that weren't questions. "Are you sure you're allowed here? Staff elevators are downstairs. Funny you don't look like the usual crowd." What surprised me wasn't her. I've met her 100 times in different bodies. What surprised me was how often people stepped aside for her. How quickly rules bent. How silence filled the space where intervention should have been. At the infinity pool, she asked an attendant loudly if everyone was allowed there now. When security checked my card and apologized, her face flushed with something close to rage. She spilled a drink on my book and muttered, "Be careful with things that don't belong to you." That night in my suite, I opened my laptop and started documenting. Dates, times, names. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted truth. Truth doesn't need volume. It needs precision. The breaking point came by the elevators. I was dressed for dinner, standing quietly, when she blocked my path and announced to a half-dozen strangers that the help isn't allowed at formal events. An officer hesitated, looked at her, looked at me, then suggested I use another elevator to avoid confusion. That one hurt. Not because of her, because of him. I walked away with my spine straight and my jaw tight, and behind me, she said just loud enough, "These stowaways are getting bold." I stopped, turned back. "You'll regret that comment," I said, calm, flat. She laughed. Back in my room, I made a call, not to complain, to accelerate a timeline. The next day, she followed me everywhere. A cooking class, the casino, the bar, whispering, pointing, planting ideas like landmines. By evening, people were staring at me like I'd done something wrong, even though no one could say what. That's the thing about accusations. They don't need proof, they need permission. I stepped out onto the upper deck for air. Stars overhead, empty space, quiet. I leaned on the railing and let myself breathe. Then I heard heels. "I know what you are," she said, stopping too close. "You don't belong here, and I've made sure everyone knows it." "And what exactly am I?" I asked. "A fraud. A nobody pretending." She grabbed my arm when I tried to move past. "People like you need to learn respect," she snarled, shoving me toward the rail. "Maybe you should swim back to where you came from." That's when instinct flared. Sharp, focused. I didn't strike her. I didn't shove back. I removed her hand efficiently, precisely, and she stumbled, shocked more than hurt. "That was assault," I said evenly. She smirked. "Who do you think they'll believe?" Actually, a voice said behind us, "We believe her." I turned. The captain stood there with security. Faces grim. Energy shifted. I reached under my dress and pulled out my dog tags, letting them catch the light. "My name is Claire Morgan," I said. "Lieutenant Colonel, currently on leave. And I've been recording everything." Silence. Thick, heavy. Her confidence collapsed in real time. What followed wasn't loud. No shouting, no dramatic speeches, just facts. Audio, video, witnesses, procedures finally followed. She was escorted away, protesting, name-dropping, threatening. None of it worked. I didn't watch her go. The next morning I addressed the crew. Not as a victim, as a leader. "This isn't about one bad person," I told them. "It's about what we tolerate when power is uneven. Silence is a choice. So is courage." Policies changed. People spoke up. Things shifted. And me. I left the ship the same way I boarded it, quietly, without applause. Because the point was never to be seen. The point was to see. So here's my question for you. Do you think money and status change how people treat others? Or do they just reveal who someone really is when they think no one important is watching?